How's it going, YouTube? Got FourthStarTCG back again with some more discussion videos for you. So today I wanted to get into a topic that has really been interesting lately. And for everyone looking at it, the Pokemon market is a little hectic. Cards are doing a lot of different things, and there's either pronouncements of moon, people saying, the market's just keeping it going up forever, Pokemon cards never go down in price. And there's also people saying that the crash is here, cards are losing their value immediately, everyone should sell now, like the retrace is here, all this kind of stuff. And everyone tends to paint the market with a broad brush, which is not the best idea. So today I wanted to give you a lesson on some market fundamentals and using an example of two incredibly popular and incredibly rare cards to do so. So today we're going to be talking about supply and demand as the kings of the Pokemon market. And in doing so, we're going to take a look at two of my favorite cards, the PSA 10 Gem Mint Charizard EX from EX Fire Red Leaf Green, and the PSA 10 Lugia EX from EX Unseen Forces. Now, just the sort of shocking clickbait headline here is that Charizard EX has lost half of its value over the last 2 months, while Lugia EX has more than doubled. Now, when you look at these cards initially, you think, okay, these are cards from, Charizard's from 2004, Lugia's from 2005. They're right about in the same era. Charizard, the most popular Pokemon, Lugia, a little less popular, but still one of the most popular Pokemon, probably in the same echelon of popularity. And, they have a lot of similarities from the same era, same year, basically, just 1 year difference between them. So why has Charizard lost half of its value, and why has Lugia more than doubled? Lugia is now way more expensive than Charizard. Why is that? So, in order to do this, we're going to need to take a look at the market fundamentals of supply and demand. And a lot of people, when they look at the Pokemon market, as I mentioned, they tend to only look at it in one of two lights. Either everything is going crazy, everything's stonking, or everything's crashing and you need to sell now. And things are a lot more nuanced than that. And you need to take a look at the situation of each individual card in order to understand why it's doing what it's doing and what the best purchase or best investment decision is going to be for you. So I have a little cheat sheet here where I'm just going to talk about a couple of the numbers on these two cards. And once we get through the numbers, maybe it'll be a little bit clearer as to why Charizard's lost half of its value while Lugia's more than doubled. Charizard, over the past 3 months, 12 PSA 10 copies have been listed and sold on eBay. Whether all of those were paid for, that's a whole nother question and a whole nother video to get into. But 12 of them are listed as being sold on eBay, publicly available sales. In January, the card was going for about $8,000. However, the last recent sale, I think it was just yesterday or even today, probably a couple days ago by the time this video gets posted, is just over $4,000. So Charizard, again, gone from $8,000 to $4,000 in the span of a couple months. Currently, there are 7 Charizard EX PSA 10s listed for sale. There are also a couple BGS 9.5s listed for sale. The lowest price that you can buy a Charizard EX for right now, buy it now, is $6.5K. The population for Charizard in a 10 is 195, and over the past year, that population has gone up by 19 cards. So as you can see, Charizard, there is a ton of supply. We've got 12 copies being sold over the last 3 months. 7 currently for sale. You can go out and buy one immediately for $6.5K, way less than the $8K it was selling for back in January, about late January, I think was the PWCC auction where it went for $8K. And the population, 195, fairly high for an EX card, certainly what you'd expect from something like Charizard, but again, going up by 19 over the past year, about 10%. So that's sort of what we're looking at for Charizard. Of course, there's always going to be high demand for Charizard. The original the most popular Pokemon in ultra rare EX form in PSA 10, there's always going to be a buyer for that card. But is there always going to be a buyer for that card at $8,000 right now? Doesn't look like there is. And that's why we've seen this price decrease. Now going to Lugia. Over the past 3 months, only one Lugia EX has sold. It sold for $11.5K, $11,500. Over back in January, there were, I think one of my friends, Hisoka, bought one for about $4,000. There were offers in the range of $5,000 over the last couple months. None of those were accepted. So people were willing to pay $5,000 for it, but no one actually bid on that. And then eventually, as we saw, there was a best offer accepted for $11.5K just a couple weeks ago. So there is now only one Lugia EX in PSA 10 listed for sale on eBay. It's $30,000 or best offer. So if you wanted to buy that Lugia EX right now, you got to shell out $30,000. And the population for the Lugia in a 10 is 57, and it's gone up by 8 over the past year. So even though it has gone up percentage-wise more than the Charizard, there are 11 less PSA 10 Lugias in circulation that have been graded over the past year than PSA 10 Charizards. And again, with the population discrepancy, you're looking at just under 4 times the population for Charizard than Lugia. So this is what's important when people talk about supply and demand, because demand for Charizard, the most popular Pokemon, demand for Charizard is always sky high, right? But when you have a ton of supply, that affects prices, right? It's never just supply, it's never just demand, it's both of them merged together. And this is what's so important about the Pokemon card hobby and these graded cards, especially when you start to get up into these high price ranges. There's not a lot of people who can shell out multiple thousands of dollars for a high graded example of a very rare card. And once you get up into those very high echelons, it's more vulnerable to these price swings, especially on things like set cards, where there's a lot of them in circulation. Charizard population of almost 200, there's almost 200 PSA 10s out there. That's a large number, especially for Pokemon cards, especially for the EX era, where most of the EX era pops are somewhere in that Lugia range. You're looking at definitely under 100 for most EX cards. Lugia, one of the lower population examples. Of course, there's some EX cards, populations under 10. Those are ridiculous, like the Milotic and stuff. But still, those cards are going to bring big money. And with a lot of people trying to complete the PSA 10 full 139 EX set right now, those prices for those rare, hard to find 10s are going up, especially when there's limited supply. And we see this with other cards too. We see it with Umbreon selling for, I think the last sold was 6.5K, Espeon over 5K, multiple offers over 10K for Milotic EX and a PSA 10. All of these very hard to find cards in the EX era, they're going up in value consistently as people try to find those rare, low population 10s. The demand is high, the supply is low, the prices go up. However, on Charizard, because it's available, those people have likely already bought one. They've sort of done what I did when I went out and bought these 2 cards last year, not 2 years ago, when I bought these cards, summer of 2 years ago. They bought the big ones first, right? They go after the Charizard, they go after the Lugia. Charizard's been relatively available for a while now. So if you wanted to collect that EX card, you wanted to get that Charizard, it hasn't been too difficult. There's been a large amount of supply. So the people who are now driving up the prices for these rare and hard to find PSA 10s, like the Lugia, like the Espeon, like the Umbreon, like these other cards, for example, like the Dragon Frontiers 10s, especially like Tyranitar, Altaria, those are very hard to find. Emerald 10s, the Milotic especially, but then even the Camerupt and the Raichu again are very difficult, very hard to grade cards. The Deoxys EXs, just sort of listing cards off the top of my head here, that I know have gone up in price a lot because of that demand from people who are looking to finish the set. So again, this is like the main takeaway that I want people to have here is the idea that the market is fluid and you can't paint it with a broad brush. You can't say the Pokemon cards are always going to go up in value. Obviously, that's not true. You can buy the most hyped Charizard EX in the highest grade and you can lose half your value in 3 months. That's just the reality of buying into these volatile assets. And people need to realize that, especially recently where there hasn't been a lot of corrections in the market. A lot of people have sort of fallen into the idea of self-justifying prices, where the more I pay for this card, the more hype it's going to get and the more value it's going to gain in the future. And, you know, they've sort of justified that whatever price I need to pay to win the card is necessary, and they're doing this with an investment mindset, not a collecting mindset where they just want the card and they don't care about how much they're going to need to pay or how much it's going to be worth in the future. So the people who are doing that, I think, are going to get burned, especially if they don't realize these fundamentals. Now, of course, this isn't to say that something like what happens to Charizard can't happen to Lugia. You know, if people who have these Lugias start realizing that, oh my God, this card's worth over $10,000, and they start listing them, then that price could go down, especially if you don't have the same number of people who are out there wanting to complete that massive 139 EX PSA 10 set and who need this Lugia in a 10. So again, people need to be aware that the market can fluctuate very quickly. Fundamentals like, you know, older, rare, mint or better. Not sure I 100% agree with that, but it's a good way to get things started. Even fundamentals like Charizard, ultra rare, PSA 10. Sometimes that doesn't mean that you're always going to make money no matter what price you buy at. You have to be aware of the dynamics of the market of supply and demand. And it's so important to realize this stuff, whether you're collecting, especially whether you're collecting and you want to try to get the cards in your collection for the, you know, best price possible, or if you're deciding to invest in cards and you want to make some money, is that you really need to be aware of all of these things. And it's not too difficult. You know, I did a quick eBay search and I got my little cheat sheet here. And, you know, if I took out the names of the cards and I said, okay, over the past, you know, 3 months, even just the prices, I say there are 12 that have been sold, there are 7 currently available. The population has gone up by 19 in the past year in a 10, versus a card 1 sold in the past 3 months. There's 1 currently for sale. The population's 57. It's gone up 8 in the past year. I think it's pretty clear which card you would look at as the better purchase decision in the short term. Especially, you know, once you throw in the prices, you know, once you throw in the fact that Charizard is 4,000 and Lugia is 11.5, you know, it actually might be a better long-term value to buy 3 of these Charizards instead of 1 of the Lugia if you can get them all for $4,000, you know. But again, it's something to be very careful about if you are looking to invest in the market or even to collect and, you know, pay the least amount of money for your cards. So I hope this video was enlightening. Again, the main takeaway here, don't paint the market with a broad brush. Do your research, understand fundamentals. That's key in both collecting and investing in Pokemon. So thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and stick around for more videos.